What happens when the world's most comprehensive sanctions regime not only fails to destroy its target, but actually makes it stronger? I'm John Mearsheimer, and for over 4 decades I've studied how great powers rise and fall. What I'm witnessing right now defies everything Western policymakers believed about economic warfare. Professor Jeffrey Sachs has just delivered the most devastating analysis of Western strategy I've ever encountered. His warning isn't speculation.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Guys, we're going to be checking out the video today. Alright, this one is titled Russia Didn't Collapse, the West Strategy Backfired Catastrophically. John Mearsheimer. Alright, I don't know what we're gonna get into this video, but I'm really curious, okay? Because for a while now I've actually been thinking about this, like with all these sanctions they're screaming everywhere, is it really working? There's all of these Western sanctions on Russia actually working. Are they really working? At a point I was actually thinking about that. So when I came across this video, I was so curious to actually check it out and find out what this man has to say about it. Okay. So if you're curious enough, let me know your dive in, sit back and let's dive right in. And please let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments. Let me know what you think. If you think his speculations or his um ideas make sense, drop it down in the comments, and I'll leave the link to the original video down in the comments because I don't know what we're getting into, but I hope it is what it is. All right, because I'm really excited about the about the I'm really excited about the topic and the title already, and I can't wait. So without further ado, let's get into it.
What happens when the world's most comprehensive sanctions regime not only fails to destroy its target, but actually makes it stronger? I'm John Mearsheimer, and for over 4 decades I've studied how great powers rise and fall. What I'm witnessing right now
Sounded rather hilarious. Hilarious, okay? Because I love that speech. I love the intro. I love that sound, the sound of that statement. That sentence, that first line, is really hilarious. I think I'm gonna take it back. I gotta listen to that again.
What happens when the world's most comprehensive sanctions regime not only fails to destroy its target, but actually makes it stronger? I'm John Mearsheimer, and for over 4 decades I've studied how great powers rise and fall. What I'm witnessing right now defies everything Western policymakers believed about economic warfare. Professor Jeffrey Sachs.
It's like it feels really, really nice. There's nothing as satisfying and peaceful as having someone try so much to destroy you and it doesn't work for them. It keeps them really frustrated. Just like there's an adage, an African adage that says, I think the wicked have no rest or something. There's no peace for the wicked, I guess. Yes, I think that's the adage. No peace for the wicked. So while the wicked is busy planning and plotting against you, you're sleeping peacefully and they are having sleepless nights. Why you keep doing better every day? That felt nice, guys.
Sachs has just delivered the most devastating analysis of Western strategy I've ever encountered. His warning isn't speculation. It's an autopsy of a failed empire. The sanctions designed to cripple Russia have backfired so catastrophically that they're reshaping global power itself. While Washington celebrates tactical victories, Moscow is...
Say that again. Please, I don't want to shout. I don't want to jump out on this video. Like, where did this man fall from? Which part of the planet did he fall from? I gotta do a research on him because he's really spitting. He's spitting out raw truth, raw facts that I didn't even expect to come across in my entire life. I never knew there were actually people out there who could actually say what it is, call a spade, and he seems so comfortable saying that, which means there's so much truth in what he's saying. Please, guys.
...a completely different war, and the West doesn't even realize it's losing. When Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, I watched Western leaders make the same fatal error I've seen throughout my career. They confused moral outrage with strategic thinking. The response was swift and predictable. The most comprehensive sanctions package in modern history. Asset freezes, swift exclusions, energy embargoes, technology bans. The goal was simple: economic strangulation leading to regime collapse. As a realist, I knew this strategy rested on a dangerous assumption that Russia had no alternatives. But Jeffrey Sachs saw what I saw. The West wasn't fighting the war, it thought it was fighting. While NATO focused on military containment, Russia was playing an entirely different game: the systematic dismantling of Western economic hegemony. And Putin was about to prove that the foundation of American power, dollar dominance, was far more fragile than anyone imagined. The first shock came within weeks. The ruble, which Western analysts predicted would collapse to worthless paper, not only stabilized, but strengthened. By late 2022, it had actually appreciated against the dollar. Russian GDP, forecasted to shrink by 15%, contracted only marginally before rebounding to growth levels that embarrassed Western economists who had staked their reputations on collapse predictions. The regime that was supposed to crumble from internal pressure consolidated power instead. Putin's approval ratings, rather than plummeting due to economic hardship, remained surprisingly stable. The oligarchs who Western strategists expected to turn against the Kremlin instead found new opportunities in redirected trade flows. But these weren't the real surprises. The real earthquake was structural. Sachs identified what he calls strategic adaptation.
Okay, I'm really excited. It's like I'm just getting nice videos today that are gonna make me dance on camera today, guys. Have you seen my? This is great. It feels nice. Oh my god. I think I needed this. This is going to be a great day for me, guys. I love what I'm hearing. Oh, finally somebody is speaking. This is great.
Russia's systematic pivot away from the West and toward what economists now term the Global South Plus coalition. China, India, Iran, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, Indonesia, the UAE, nations representing over half the world's population and a growing share of global GDP. What struck me most was the speed of this reorientation. Trade relationships that typically take decades to build were established in months. Russia-China bilateral trade jumped 30% in the first year alone. India increased Russian oil imports by over 7%.
It didn't shock them at all. It didn't shock them. Touch me by mistake and you die by correction. Hey, you don't shock them all. Don't worry until all of them start falling down.
By over 700%. These weren't temporary adjustments. They represented permanent shifts in global economic geography. I've spent decades arguing that in an anarchic international system, states will balance against dominant powers. What I witnessed in 2022 to 2024 was the most rapid great power rebalancing in modern history. And the catalyst wasn't Russian aggression, it was Western overreach. The energy equation tells the story perfectly. Europe, in a fit of what Sachs calls moral arrogance, severed itself from cheap Russian gas overnight. The economic suicide was immediate and devastating. German factories shuttering by the hundreds, French industry relocating to America and Asia, European competitiveness evaporating in a matter of months. Energy costs tripled, then quadrupled.
While all of these crises and crumblings were going on, Russia was still going ahead. When they say casting down, there will be a lifting up for us. While they were busy breaking down, Russia was breaking up, was breaking out.
In some regions, pushing major manufacturers toward American markets where subsidies and cheaper energy beckoned. I watched entire supply chains collapse in real time. Chemical plants that had operated profitably for decades suddenly became unviable. Steel production, the backbone of European industry, contracted by double digits. The automotive sector, already struggling with electric transition, faced an additional burden of energy costs that made production increasingly uncompetitive against Asian rivals. Meanwhile, Russia redirected its energy flows eastward with remarkable efficiency. Chinese imports of Russian oil hit record levels, with Beijing securing long-term contracts at discounted prices. India became Moscow's largest customer outside China, increasing purchases by over 1,000% within 18 months. Even traditional U.S. allies like Turkey quietly increased energy imports from Russia. But the most significant development was the construction of new pipeline infrastructure. The power of Siberia expansion, new routes through Central Asia, LNG facilities oriented toward Asian markets. Russia was physically rewiring the global energy grid away from Europe. The energy map of Eurasia was redrawn in months, not decades. And Europe, having voluntarily surrendered energy security for moral symbolism, found itself permanently disadvantaged in global manufacturing. But energy was just the beginning. The deeper transformation involves something far more threatening to American hegemony, the dollar system itself. For 80 years, America has enjoyed what economists call exorbitant privilege, the ability to print money that others must accept because international trade requires dollars. This system allowed the U.S. to finance enormous deficits, maintain global military presence, and weaponize sanctions with devastating effect. Sachs warns that this era is ending, not through military defeat, but through systemic bypass. BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, have accelerated development of alternative payment systems. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization is expanding its financial architecture. Most significantly, major oil producers are accepting payments in yuan, rubles, even rupees instead of dollars. The numbers tell the story. In 2021, roughly 2% of Russia-China trade was conducted in their domestic currencies. By 2024, that figure exceeded 75%. Saudi Arabia, America's oldest Middle Eastern ally, began accepting yuan for Chinese oil purchases, a development that would have been unthinkable just years earlier. The BRICS Plus expansion in 2023 brought in Iran, Egypt, UAE, and Ethiopia, while dozens of other nations applied for membership. This wasn't just diplomatic symbolism, it represented the institutionalization of non-Western financial infrastructure. The new development bank, alternative to the World Bank, the BRICS payment system challenging SWIFT dominance. Each bilateral trade agreement conducted outside the dollar system represents a small crack in American financial hegemony. But the cumulative effect is revolutionary. When enough nations trade without dollars, the entire foundation of American economic power begins to erode. I've calculated the mathematics of this decline. If just 30% of global trade shifts away from dollar denomination, the United States loses the ability to finance its massive deficits through monetary expansion. The consequences would include forced fiscal austerity, reduced military spending, and fundamental restructuring of American global commitments. I've watched this process with the analytical detachment my realist training demands, but also with growing concern. Because what Sachs describes isn't just economic transition, it's the emergence of a genuinely multipolar world order. And historically, such transitions are rarely peaceful. The tragedy is that this outcome was entirely preventable. After the Cold War ended, the West had an opportunity to construct an inclusive international system that reflected new realities. Instead, we doubled down on dominance. NATO expansion, economic coercion, regime change operations, all designed to preserve a unipolar moment that was always temporary. Russia's survival under maximum pressure has sent a signal to every nation on Earth. The West's economic weapons have limits. If Moscow can endure the worst sanctions in history and emerge more self-reliant, why should any country fear Western economic coercion? This realization is spreading faster than any sanction can contain it. From Africa to Asia, from Latin America to the Middle East, governments are quietly diversifying their economic partnerships, reducing dollar dependence, and building relationships with non-Western powers. I've witnessed this shift firsthand during recent academic conferences and policy discussions. Officials from countries across the global South speak openly about hedging strategies, maintaining relationships with the West while expanding alternatives. Nigeria explores yuan-denominated oil sales. Bangladesh
Let me hear that one very well. That Nigeria does what? I didn't hear it.
Relationships with the West while expanding alternatives. Nigeria explores yuan-denominated oil sales. Bangladesh increases rupee trade with India. Argentina considers BRICS membership. The pattern is unmistakable. Nations are preparing for a post-American world order not through revolution, but through gradual decoupling from Western-dominated systems. Sachs calls this the awakening of sovereignty. Nations rediscovering that they have choices. The monopolar world where Washington dictated terms is being replaced by a multipolar reality where power is distributed among several centers. But the transformation goes deeper than economics. It's psychological, cultural, civilizational. For 3 decades, Western values, institutions, and development models were presented as universal and inevitable. Now, alternative pathways to prosperity and governance are proving viable. China's Belt and Road Initiative has connected over 140 countries through infrastructure investments totaling more than $1 trillion. Unlike Western development aid, which often comes with political conditions about governance and economic reform, Chinese investment focuses primarily on tangible infrastructure: ports, railways, telecommunications networks. The results are visible across the developing world. African cities connected by Chinese-built railways, Central Asian nations linked through energy pipelines, South American countries accessing Pacific markets through Chinese-funded ports. Europe finds itself the biggest loser in this transition. Having surrendered strategic autonomy to American leadership, European nations now discover they lack both the military capability to defend themselves and the economic flexibility to adapt. The continent that once dominated global affairs has become a strategic backwater, dependent on American energy, at triple the cost of Russian alternatives they voluntarily abandoned. The psychological impact runs deeper than economics. For 30 years, Western elites believed their model was inevitable, their values universal, their dominance permanent. Sachs shatters these illusions with clinical precision. The world no longer needs Western permission to prosper. Alternative models of development, governance, and international relations are proving viable. This shift terrifies Western establishments because it strikes at the heart of their identity. If American hegemony isn't destiny, if Western values aren't universal, if other civilizations can chart independent courses, then what justifies continued dominance? The answer, increasingly, is nothing. And that realization is driving Western foreign policy toward increasingly desperate measures. But here's what worries me most as a security scholar. Desperate hegemons often resort to force when economic leverage fails. History shows that declining powers frequently choose war rather than accept diminished status. The risk of military escalation grows as economic tools lose their effectiveness. Sachs
Pride no go allow them. Pride no go allow them. Pride goes before the fall of a man. It go blind you. See where you enter the pit.
offers a different path forward, what he calls cooperative multipolarity. Instead of resisting inevitable change, the West could embrace it, helping to construct international institutions that reflect new realities rather than clinging to systems designed for a world that no longer exists. This requires humility that American leaders have rarely displayed. It means accepting that other nations have legitimate interests, that different developmental models can succeed, that diversity of governance doesn't threaten global stability. The alternative is continued confrontation, economic fragmentation, and the risk of conflict between nuclear powers. Because as Sachs warns, the old order is collapsing whether we guide that collapse or not. The question is whether we'll manage this transition wisely or stumble toward catastrophe. Russia's resilience has shattered the myth of Western economic omnipotence. The sanctions that were supposed to demonstrate American power have revealed its limits instead. And across the world, nations are drawing conclusions that will reshape international relations for generations. The tragedy of great power politics is unfolding once again. But this time, the declining hegemon is us. And the question isn't whether we'll adapt to multipolarity. It's whether we'll do so peacefully or through the chaos that historically accompanies imperial collapse. Professor Sachs has delivered his warning. The choice of how we respond remains ours. But time is running out, and the world is moving forward with or without American consent. The age of uncontested dominance is over. The question is, what comes next?
Wow. That was quite logical, you know, really, really logical. And the way he actually analyzed the economical system, is it just economical? The way he actually analyzed the political and economical system of the West, America, compared to what they actually prepared for Russia. Imagine preparing a pot of soup or boiled water to pour on somebody, only to find out that water had actually poured on you. Why going to pour it on the person? all the preparations actually failed. Because really, at some point, I was really, the more I was discovering, the more I discover about Russia, the more I wonder, like, is this place really the Russia they are actually talking about? Does these people really go behind the camera to actually see what is happening in this land? What is happening? How great and greater these people are actually becoming. Like with every sanction every day, like you look at the president of Russia and he looks like, who the hell do you think you are? Guys, his nonchalant look is what makes me find him really attractive. Like, he doesn't, it looks like he doesn't even give a hook about what anybody thinks or what anybody says because he knows his game. Like, he's good at his game. I know, just watching this right now, can you believe it? Can you believe this? Like, every plan literally backfired. And this man analysis is quite logical. You know, it's really amazing. I don't know how he came about all of this, but he really studied the system and it's really great. Look at the way he analyzed everything, and it's so interesting. And I mean, sitting right here, I feel like what he's saying, just from the experiences of what I've seen so far, it's not been long. I think I came across exploring Russia like a month or 2 months ago, right? And what I have discovered so far is like times two of the opposite of what I used to think, what I used to believe. So it's really great the way he actually analyzed this political and economical system. I mean, Russia is winning in politics, Russia is winning economical. I mean, the economical system of it is even outside of this world, is out of question. No wonder they want to drag, like, we are dragging you down and you are not coming. What is wrong? And they know that the more and the higher Russia climbs, the more threatened their authorities get. The higher Russia climbs, the more threatened their powers and authorities get. Because I mean, it's painful. It's hidden. It might be hidden to so many people, to the rest of the world, but the reality still remains that what actually was meant to break Russia actually made them. And the breakout of Russia isn't going to be in favor of anybody, isn't going to be in favor of the West or the American system. But it's going to create something so devastating that they will not even be able to stand. And I think that is what is happening right now. They don't even believe it's happening, but it is. Okay, they can't believe that the system they actually created is crumbling right before their eyes, and there's nothing they can actually do. Imagine living as, imagine you having a process through which you obtained things with so much ease, but you decided that no, you want to go the long way. Suffer no dey tire. You don't get tired of suffering, Abby. Hey, this was sweet me, guys. I feel really excited right now. And the part that I am really proud about is the fact that even my country, Nigeria, have already taken a step. I never knew Nigeria was this wise. I think for once I'm actually proud of my country that they actually took a bold step to look towards another direction, okay, outside of what has been the regular one that actually crippled the system more and more and every day. All right. This is a great one. I can imagine a brighter future. Wow. Like, so many things are gonna be in place. Please, guys, let me know your thoughts on this video down in the comment because I'm really overjoyed right now. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.
Had a great time with this video, right? Feels like I actually chose some of the best part of the videos I really want to watch tonight because I love what I see.